Have you ever wondered why some people experience signs of aging much earlier than others, whether that be the onset of wrinkles, adverse health conditions, or gray hairs? The answer to this question all lies in the power of genetics. Human development, starting from birth to adulthood, is a complex process that depends on many factors, including our environment, such as where we live, our stress levels, and diet, as well as our genes. Before we discuss this in greater detail, let's take a step back and talk about DNA. What makes you, you? Well, simply put, it all comes down to our DNA. DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. DNA is a special molecule that is located in each and every cell in our body. DNA has a double-stranded spiral structure and is made up of special molecules, which are often represented as the letters A, T, C, and G. Everyone has a unique sequence of these 4 letters that makes up their DNA. The average human has 30 trillion cells, with each cell containing 2 meters of DNA. I'll let you imagine just how much DNA we have inside of us. You might be wondering, what is the point of all of this DNA inside of us? DNA acts as an instruction manual for our lifelong development, starting from birth to adulthood, through something called genes. DNA contains thousands of genes, which are simply sections of the DNA. Genes give rise to many of our characteristics, including our physical appearance, whether that be our eye color, hair color, or height, our personality and abilities, whether that be our exceptional soccer abilities or shy nature, and even our health and well-being, given that many diseases can be inherited. DNA is able to affect all of these characteristics through a process that occurs in our cells that converts the DNA into a protein that can be used in the body to do work and give rise to our unique characteristics. Given that each person has their own unique sequence of DNA, you might be wondering, can we ever change this unique code? While the answer is no, that doesn't mean that our genes are set in stone. Environmental factors such as stress have the ability to silence our genes on our DNA, resulting in no protein being made. On the other hand, environmental factors can also increase the activity of a gene on our DNA, resulting in lots of proteins being made. This all occurs through a mechanism called epigenetics. If we continue to think of DNA as an instruction manual for building a piece of furniture, and protein as the furniture that is made from the instruction manual, epigenetics would be the way that the instruction manual is read, given that we can skip or reread parts of the manual. Similarly, epigenetics can change the way that our DNA is read, resulting in changes in the amount of protein that is made. Changes in your environment, whether that be changes in stress levels, a change of diet, or exposure to toxic pollutants such as smoke, can change the way that DNA is made into proteins. Regardless of the type of change, these can ultimately result in more of a specific protein being made or less of a specific protein being made. Epigenetics has a huge influence on the human aging process. While we commonly think of age as a chronological event, that being based on our birth date, there is a different and arguably more scientifically robust way of determining one's age. This is through biological age, which is determined by looking at the DNA in our cells. Scientists believe that biological age is the best way to determine one's overall health, likelihood of developing diseases, and overall life expectancy. As we have discussed, environmental factors such as stress can induce epigenetic changes that change the way DNA is read to make proteins. These epigenetic changes leave marks on DNA, sort of like if you walk in the snow. You leave behind footprints. This is exactly what epigenetic changes do to DNA. They leave behind footprints called methylation. In this video, methylation will be shown as a stick with a ball attached to it. Methylation refers to special chemical groups that are added or removed from different regions of DNA. Scientists have developed a way to measure the accumulation or loss of methylation at a particular region of DNA to determine one's biological age. This means that while you may be 30 years old based on your birth date, your biological age could be lower, such as 20 years old, or higher, such as 40 years old, based on the degree of methylation on your DNA. If biological age is greater than chronological age, this is referred to as premature epigenetic aging. You may be wondering, what happens if you experience premature epigenetic aging? There are a variety of negative effects, including predisposition to health conditions such as heart disease, cancer, and autoimmune disorders. Recent research has looked at the impacts of socioeconomic status and its outcomes on epigenetic aging. Socioeconomic status is defined as the position of an individual on the socioeconomic scale, which is determined by a combination of social and economic factors, such as income levels, educational attainment, prestige of occupation, place of residence, and ethnic origin. Individuals who have high income levels and high educational attainment are described as having high socioeconomic status, whereas individuals with low income levels and low educational attainment are described as having low socioeconomic status. Research has shown that family income, parental educational attainment, and adversity encountered during childhood are among the most important factors that affect epigenetic aging. To connect the pieces of how socioeconomic status can impact our health, let's take this story for example. Meet Cece, a 9-year-old child who comes from a low-income family of 5. Cece's mom and dad work long hours during the day to make ends meet. They often find that they come home from work feeling tired and stressed, which leads to lots of arguments amongst both parents. Cece's family finds that money is tight, therefore they cannot afford to purchase expensive grocery items such as fruits and veggies. Instead, they tend to consume cheaper food items such as macaroni and cheese or frozen meals. Cece's family finds themselves eating very small portions of food. Due to the low quality and quantity of food, Cece finds that she is always low on energy and too tired to pay attention in class. Therefore, she tends to fall asleep at school. Cece's family finds themselves moving communities frequently due to job loss. As a result of this constant movement, Cece struggles to make long-lasting connections with her peers and educators at school. Additionally, Cece struggles with math and would like extra help in this subject. However, her parents cannot afford to hire a tutor. Over the years, all of these challenges begin to stress Cece out. Over time, these stressors will result in epigenetic changes to her DNA and consequently will affect Cece's health. The harsh reality is that socioeconomic status affects health outcomes the most during childhood compared to any other stage of life. Researchers believe this is because childhood is a pivotal developmental time point, where many biological changes put children in a vulnerable place when it comes to their health and well-being. That doesn't mean that nothing can be done. Surely there is. Scientists believe that epigenetic aging may be reversible, despite encountering low socioeconomic status-related stress during childhood. Furthermore, there are a number of preventative measures that can be taken to mitigate a child's risk of experiencing premature epigenetic aging. The first measure is providing children with opportunities to engage in physical activity, given that physical activity prevents the onset of obesity and high blood pressure, which are large contributors to epigenetic aging. The recommended amount of physical activity per day is 60 minutes. This can be done through any means, whether that is engaging in free play outdoors, playing sports, or spending some time at the local playground. The second measure is to avoid smoking around children. Secondhand smoke is especially damaging to children's respiratory health. The third measure is to ensure that your child gets enough sleep. While a newborn's sleep may vary, toddlers aged 1 to 2 years require 11 to 14 hours. Preschoolers aged 2 to 5 years require 10 to 13 hours. School-aged children 6 to 13 years require 9 to 12 hours. And teens aged 14 to 17 years require 8 to 10 hours of sleep. Setting a nighttime routine can be helpful to develop and maintain a consistent sleep pattern. Also, ensure that your child's sleep is undisturbed by mitigating noise and reducing the use of technology at least 1 hour before sleeping. The fourth measure is to provide your child with a healthy and diverse diet. Children should be consuming foods from a diverse range of food groups, including dairy, grains, vegetables, fruits, and proteins such as eggs and meat and alternatives. Be sure to consult Canada's Food Guide for more details on specific amounts. The fifth measure is to teach your child healthy stress coping mechanisms. Some simple yet effective techniques include engaging in breathing exercises, doing yoga or light stretches, and simply talking to somebody about your feelings. The last measure is to be an attentive and supportive parent. A child's relationship with their parent or guardian makes all the difference when it comes to their stress levels. Be caring, attentive, and someone who they know they can turn to at any time. Many of these protective measures must be taken into account even before childbirth in order to prevent the onset of premature epigenetic aging. These measures include, first, avoiding excessive intake of vitamin B12 and folic acid. Be sure to connect with your doctor to monitor vitamin B12 and folic acid levels during pregnancy. And secondly, avoid being around smoke-filled areas and smokers while pregnant. Much like with children, smoking can harm the respiratory system of a fetus and result in premature epigenetic aging. If you as a parent ever feel like you are struggling to meet these measures, be sure to reach out to your network, whether that be your healthcare provider, child school community, local food bank, or community counselors for support. With this knowledge in mind, you can set yourself and your child up for a lifetime of healthy and happy development. And that's all from me. Thank you for listening.